This Bloodborne series covers how to do all quests and missable content in order so that all choices and rewards will be available. For best results, follow this series from the start of part 1. There will be spoilers in the form of important information, and as usual, useful timestamps can be found in the video description. At the end of part 7, we just finished the Old Hunters DLC and Vaulter's questline. In part 8, we'll be completing everything left to get platinum trophies for both the base game and Old Hunters DLC. Before starting, I just want to give a brief overview of where my character level and stats were after completing all Chalice Dungeons. Keep in mind that I was able to level up a fair amount throughout completion of the various Chalice Dungeons we will be covering in this guide. Chalice Dungeons can be started at one of the multiple gravestones to the left of the doll NPC in Hunter's Dream. Let's start by going through the entry-level Chalice Dungeon, and for this we will use the Pthumeru Chalice as a shared fixed dungeon. If you need Ritual Blood 1 to conduct the ritual, you should be able to purchase it from one of the 2 messenger bath shops in Hunter's Dream. While going through this first layer of the Chalice Dungeon, I'll cover the basic layout and objectives that apply to all Chalice Dungeons, and also cover some important notes and tips for approaching Chalice Dungeons. Each Chalice Dungeon can have 1 or more layers, and in each layer, we need to find and interact with a lever that opens up the door to the boss chamber, then go defeat that boss. This will then unlock the way to the next layer of the Chalice Dungeon, if there is one, where we will need to repeat the process. At our current character and weapon levels, this will be extremely easy when first starting out. However, by the time we near the end of all the different Chalice Dungeons that we need to complete for Platinum, it will be very challenging indeed. As we progress through Chalice Dungeons, we will want to explore and try to uncover secret treasure rooms, as they will often contain rare materials needed for accessing even later Chalice Dungeons. Progressing through all required Chalice Dungeons to unlock and experience all side content will take a lot of time. Because of that, I won't be providing a full walkthrough for every Chalice Dungeon and layer therein. However, I will be covering all the important Chalice Dungeons we need to complete in brief, and will also point out which important ritual materials and other important rewards, such as weapons, can be found in which dungeons and approximately where. Hopefully this strikes a good balance between providing necessary information while also not making this video 8 hours long. We will cover some dungeons that are not absolutely necessary for a platinum trophy, but if you do follow this guide as best as possible, you definitely will get the platinum trophy and more rewards besides. So let's get into it, starting with the rest of the basic Pthumeru Chalice Dungeon. There are 2 more layers, and we should be able to find Tomb Mold 1 while looking for the lever that opens the boss chamber in each layer before we go to defeat the boss. The boss in layer 2 should drop the Pthumeru Root Chalice. The final boss in layer 3 of the Pthumeru Chalice Dungeon is the Watchdog of the Old Lords. Defeating it will get us the central Pthumeru Chalice and a random blood gem. Next, we'll want to do the Pthumeru Root Chalice Dungeon, mainly for Ritual Blood 2. Somewhere in this dungeon, there will be a chest containing the Uncanny variant of the Saw Cleaver. It functions in the same way as the regular Saw Cleaver, but has a different assortment of blood gem socket shapes, so can accommodate a different build or playstyle. Crucial for our needs, we should be able to find some Ritual Blood 2 within layer 2 of the Pthumeru Root Chalice Dungeon. Next on our list is the central Pthumeru Chalice Dungeon. I'll include a full walkthrough of layer 2 of this Chalice Dungeon, as the Hintertomb Chalice is within a side path here. As a bonus, we will be able to purchase Tomb Mold 1 from the Messenger Bath in Hunter's Dream after picking up this chalice. You'll also see that I get plenty of Ritual Blood 3 here. Defeating the Keeper of the Old Lords at the end of Layer 2 will get us the Central Pthumeru Root Chalice. Finally, defeating the Pthumerian Descendant in Layer 3 of this dungeon will get us the Lower Pthumeru Chalice. Our next Chalice dungeon to do is for Lower Pthumeru. Again, we can find more Ritual Blood 3 in this dungeon, and keep an eye out for an illusory wall that leads to a treasure room. It will contain chests with additional ritual items. There's actually an illusory wall within each layer of this particular Chalice dungeon, though I do not know the location of all of them. I'll include a walkthrough of a side path that we need to take in Layer 2 of this Chalice dungeon, accessed on the way to the boss chamber. There's a chest at the end of it which contains the Workshop Haze Extractor, and this tool allows us to extract Arcane Haze, a ritual chalice material, from various other ritual materials. The boss in Layer 3 of the Lower Pthumeru Chalice dungeon is Rom, and defeating them will get us the Lower Pthumeru Root Chalice. Be sure to look out for chests containing Ritual Blood 4, Tomb Mold 3, and Sage's Wrists while exploring the 4th layer of this Chalice dungeon. The final boss in Layer 4 is the Bloodletting Beast. This is the point where bosses start to become challenging, and so I'll let the full fight play out in hopes that it's helpful. Defeating the Bloodletting Beast will get us the Defiled Chalice along with other rewards. In addition, we will be able to purchase both Ritual Blood 2 and Tomb Mold 2 from the Messenger Bath and Hunter's Dream after completing this dungeon. The next dungeon on our list is for the Hintertomb Chalice. Ritual Blood 2 should not be a problem, and we should have gotten at least 4 Bloodshot Eyeballs after defeating the Witch of Hemwick a while back. Ritual items we should be able to find in this dungeon include Bloodshot Eyeballs and Ritual Blood 3, and we will need 6 of each of those for the next Chalice dungeon. If we cannot find enough Bloodshot Eyeballs in this dungeon, we can always purchase the remaining ones that we need from the Insight Messenger Bath Shop in Hunter's Dream. Defeating the 2 major bosses in the Hintertomb Chalice dungeon will reward us with the Hintertomb Root Chalice and Lower Hintertomb Chalice. After completing that dungeon, we will then need to delve into the Lower Hintertomb Chalice dungeon. Again, if you need more Bloodshot Eyeballs, those can be purchased at the Insight Messenger Bath. We should find the inflicted organ material within the first 2 layers of this dungeon. Defeating the Forgotten Madman boss will get us the lower Hintertomb root chalice and make the Madman armor set available for purchase from the Insight Messenger Bath shop. In Layer 3 of this dungeon, we will find Ritual Blood 4, along with a Messenger Bath that sells the Sinister Hintertomb root chalice. Any Chalice Dungeon Messenger Bath will also sell both the Uncanny and Lost variants of any DLC weapons. That's assuming that we obtained their base variants, which we should have. Keep an eye out for more Inflicted Organs, Sage's Wrists, and Ritual Blood 4 while moving through the rest of this dungeon. The Pthumerian Elder, which is the final boss for this dungeon, is fairly difficult, so I'll let this fight play out in hopes that it is helpful. Defeating the Pthumerian Elder will get us the short Ritual Root Chalice. The next dungeon we need to tackle, mainly for a new weapon, is for the Ailing Loran Chalice. We should have gotten enough Ritual Blood 4 in the previous dungeon, and we can buy the Coldblood Flower Buds from the Insight Messenger Bath if we need more. Both the chalice and ability to buy the Flower Buds are a result of defeating the Amygdala boss in the Nightmare Frontier. Starting from the Layer 1 heart, I'll show the path that we must take to reach a specific chest. It is down the side path that can be accessed just after reaching the start of Ailing Loran Layer 2. After running through a chamber filled with rats, we should reach a ladder that we can climb, and we'll run across the nearby bridge to reach a treasure room. Within the central chest there is one of the final weapons we need to unlock for Platinum, the Beast Claw. We'll also find some crucial ritual materials here, including Coldblood Flower Bulbs and Ritual Blood 5. A quick note on the Beast Claw weapon: if we use it alongside the Beast's Embrace Oath memory rune, we will gain access to an enhanced moveset and playstyle. Back to the Ailing Loran Chalice Dungeon, defeating the Blood-Starved Beast in Layer 2 will get us the Ailing Loran Root Chalice. We should be able to find at least one more Ritual Blood 5 while going through Layer 3. The final boss in Layer 3 is the Abhorrent Beast, and this is a new style of enemy and can be challenging, so again I'll let the fight play out. Defeating the Abhorrent Beast will get us the Lower Loran Chalice. There are some rare materials that we can get in this Chalice dungeon, those being Bastrd of Loran and Blooming Coldblood Flower. I'll show a walkthrough of where to go to get these ritual materials, starting from the Layer 3 Heart Lamp. They are located in various spots down a side path just before the boss room. Entering that side path, we'll run forward until reaching a cavernous space with multiple bridges. Crossing over the top bridge first, we'll then fall through a hole into a room with a single chest that contains 2 Bastards of Loran. We'll then run back out and cross over the lower bridge to reach a treasure room with multiple chests. There should be a total of 2 more Bastrd of Lorans and 6 Blooming Coldblood Flowers. Our next essential dungeon to tackle is the Great Is Chalice. We got this by defeating Ebrietas, daughter of the Cosmos. Doing that also made Pearl Slugs available for purchase from the Insight Messenger Bath Shop in Hunter's Dream. We'll need 3 of those along with 9 Ritual Blood 5 and 25 Arcane Haze, which we can create at the workshop using lesser materials and the workshop Haze Extractor tool. Be sure to explore this dungeon thoroughly for important ritual materials. Within the various layers of this Chalice dungeon, we should be able to find Yellow Backbone, Red Jelly, Sage's Hair, and Tomb Mold 5 ritual materials. I also believe that Ritual Blood 5 can be found throughout this dungeon. The Red Jelly is crucial as we will need at least 2 from Chalice dungeons to get all trophies in the game. We should also be able to find a messenger bath that sells the Sinister Is Root Chalice. The final boss of this Chalice dungeon is an amped up version of Ebrietas, daughter of the Cosmos. She has more health and hits harder than the standard variant, but functions in the same way. Defeating her will get us the Is Root Chalice and potentially an Abyssal Blood Gem. We may need to remove a chalice at Hunter's Dream in order to continue at this point, so select one that you are confident was explored completely. Our next dungeon will be for the Defiled Chalice. What makes this dungeon so challenging is the fact that we will only have half of our max health while doing it. The Watchdog of the Old Lord's boss in Layer 2 drops the Cursed and Defiled Root Chalice when defeated. The final boss for this dungeon in Layer 3 is an amped up version of Amygdala. Facing it with only half health made it so that it could just barely one-shot me with its leap attack. I had to invest more levels into Vitality, use runes that enhanced max health and reduced physical damage taken, and equip the armor with the highest physical resistance stats just to barely survive the leap attack when at full health. I then had to constantly top off my health to make sure that I could survive that attack. I'll let the rest of the fight play out, but it was genuinely one of the toughest to get through. Defeating Amygdala here will get us the Great Pthumeru Ihyll Chalice. One of the required materials for this chalice is 4 red jelly. We should have gotten 2 red jelly in the Great Chalice dungeon, and we can then get the remaining 2 we need from the first floor of the lecture building. They are located in a chest within the room to the right of the entrance to Nightmare Frontier. We'll need those 4 red jelly along with 9 ritual blood 5, 25 arcane haze, and the living string that we obtained from defeating the Brain of Mensis. This is the last chalice dungeon that we need to complete for the platinum trophy. Specifically, we need to defeat the final boss within layer 3. You can pause now if you want to do that fight blind. For everyone else, Yharnam Pthumerian Queen can be challenging and does have the potential to deal high burst damage. However, I found her much more manageable than the half health fight with Amygdala. Also, the Holy Moonlight Sword's weapon art is great at stun locking the queen, which makes the fight so much easier. When the queen splits into 3, we will need to find the true form of her to start dealing damage once again. Defeating Yharnam Pthumerian Queen will unlock the associated trophy and also get us the Yharnam Stone. This key item is basically just an in-game trophy to mark our accomplishment. I want to briefly cover some other neat items we can get through Chalice Dungeons. First, for defeating the headless bloodletting beast in layer 2 of the Great Pthumeru Ihyll Chalice, we should have gotten the Pthumeru Ihyll Root Chalice. If we conduct a ritual with that chalice and add in the fetid, rotted, and cursed offerings, it will create a very difficult randomly generated dungeon. However, this dungeon will also have a heightened chance to contain chests with tier 5 runes. Specifically, I got the tier 5 Communion rune here, which increases max blood vial count by 5. The Clockwise Metamorphosis rune can also be found in these dungeons, which boost max HP by 15%. In addition, I found the elusive Ring of Betrothal in layer 2 of this randomly generated dungeon. If we want, we can bring this ring to Annalise, the Vileblood Queen, and propose to her. Unfortunately, she will reject us. Feel free to experiment with different depth 5 root chalices to obtain max tier variants of your favorite runes. And know that you can usually search online if there is a specific rune that you want to find out the specific chalice ritual, offerings, and glyph or code to guarantee that you get that rune in the dungeon that is generated. Alright, there is only one boss remaining before we discuss how to get the different game endings and remaining trophies for Platinum. To that end, we will go to the Mergo's Loft middle lamp and proceed all the way to the rooftop. Also, it's important to know that it is crucial we do not use the 1/3 of umbilical cord that we will be getting soon, if we want to have all game endings open to us. To the left of Lady Yharnam is a shortcut that we can activate. We probably won't need it though, as the boss we need to defeat up here is trivial compared to other challenges we've faced at this point. Again, it's crucial that we don't use the 1/3 of umbilical cord that we are going to get. Besides that warning, you can pause now if you want to fight the boss blind. For everyone else, as I mentioned, Mergo's wet nurse should be a cakewalk, but I'll let the fight play out just in case. Defeating Mergo's wet nurse will get us the final 1/3 of umbilical cord that we need for one of the game's ending, but again, do not use it yet or we'll be locked into it. Before we talk about game endings, let's cover some remaining NPC interactions. None of them are necessary for any trophy, but you may still want to do them. At the Cathedral Ward, we can speak with the lonely old woman multiple times and eventually say "I have my share of woes" to get free sedative. We can keep doing this until she runs out. Eventually, she will go out looking for more sedative because she has run out. If we ask her to go out looking more than once, she will not return and will instead be found outside on the ground. For the Skeptical Man, if we want, we can attack him and he will drop 3 pungent blood cocktails. For Adela, if we attack her, she will drop the Odin Writhe rune. Now let's discuss how to get the 3 endings for Bloodborne, each of which comes with its own associated trophy. If we want to get all 3 endings and trophies for Platinum, we will either have to play through the game 3 times, or manipulate save file backups, which requires a separate USB storage device. For anyone wishing to go that route, plug in your USB storage device, then navigate to settings in the PlayStation menu. Then saved data and game/app settings, saved data PS4, and upload or delete from console storage. Next, select the USB device you want to make a backup on, select Bloodborne, and copy to USB drive. We can then go choose one of the game endings, and when we are ready to restore our save data to before we chose an ending, we can navigate to the same area, but select copy or delete from USB drive. We can then select Bloodborne and copy to console storage. This will overwrite whatever saved data you have on your console, so make sure that you are copying over the correct backup. With that all explained, let's cover the 3 endings to the game and how to get them. For the first and easiest one, we can go find Gehrman to the right of the doll NPC in Hunter's Dream. All we need to do is select Submit Your Life. Doing this will get us the Yharnam Sunrise ending and trophy. If you're using backups, you can copy the backup from the USB drive to the console at this point to return to the save from just before selecting an ending. Now for the second game ending, we need to make sure that we have not used 3 1/3 umbilical cords. As you can see, I have not used any. We then need to go talk with Gehrman and refuse. This will result in a final boss fight. I'll cover that boss fight in a moment, but if we defeat the final boss under these conditions, we will get the Honoring Wishes ending and trophy. You can do this, then restore to the backup save one last time if you are taking that approach. For the third and most difficult ending to get, we will need to use a total of 3 1/3 umbilical cords before we defeat Gehrman, so we can just do this before we go talk to him. We will then need to talk with Gehrman, refuse, and defeat him once again. If you want to see the end result of these specific actions, then you can pause until after defeating Gehrman to avoid spoilers. For everyone else, Gehrman is surprisingly challenging, even when compared to many of the other late game and DLC bosses that we have faced up to this point. The Holy Moonlight Sword and its weapon art are very effective during phase 1 of the fight. However, it becomes a little less useful during the latter half. At that point, I found a faster means of damage, the one-hand form of Ludwig's Holy Blade, to be a more reliable way of dealing damage. Defeating Gehrman gets us the Old Hunter badge. If we defeat Gehrman after using the 3 umbilical cord pieces, then we will need to defeat a second boss, the Moon Presence, before getting the final game ending. Because of that, we can actually use a Bold Hunter's Mark to leave the arena if we want, and come back to defeat the Moon Presence once we are ready. The reason we might want to do this is that we only have access to all weapons in the base game after defeating Gehrman. So if we want to platinum the game after getting the 3rd game ending, we should purchase all remaining weapons that we do not yet have from the Messenger Bath Shop. The weapon that we need to purchase after defeating Gehrman specifically is the Burial Blade. Again though, just check which weapons you have in your inventory against the ones that are in the shop, and buy the ones that you do not have. After we've obtained all 26 weapons from the base game, which includes 15 right-hand weapons and 11 left-hand weapons, we will unlock the Hunter's Essence trophy. Keep in mind that we will still have access to all shop items when entering New Game Plus, so it's not essential that we purchase everything before beating the game for the first time. Getting back to the final ending, once we are ready, we can go defeat the Moon Presence, which is actually fairly easy, and this will unlock the final ending and trophy, Childhood's Beginning. Regardless of which game ending we chose, we will automatically be sent into New Game Plus on the character that we completed the game with, where we can play through the whole game over again, but at an increased level of difficulty. If you need help or clarification on anything covered in this series, you can reach out to me in the comments where I will do my best to help. I want to take a moment here and thank all of you for joining me on this incredible journey through the incredible game that is Bloodborne. I have similar guide series for other phenomenal games like Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3, Black Myth Wukong, Baldur's Gate 3, and Hollow Knight Silksong, and I also plan on covering more classic titles in the From Software lineup down the road. You can find all of those over on my channel, and if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. You're helping me feed my cats, Marshmallow, and Coco. Have a great day. If you're here today, have a great Friday, and a great weekend. And as always, thanks for watching.